Season 20 has gone down really well with the Apex community, but in the future, there's plenty more cool stuff coming, like new heirlooms, new events, and new stories. So let's talk about it. But first, the player count has peaked, which is really cool to see. It actually peaked yesterday because it was a Saturday, so more people were playing. And you can see from this chart, a lot more players are on Apex. Unfortunately, it's not as many as this time last year. No crazy records have been set, but the player count right now is similar to the player count at the start of Season 18, when Revenant Reborn came out. One thing though, I assume with all the challenge stuff in game, people are going to be playing Apex for a lot longer, and it's going to take longer for the player count to drop off, because that flatline reactive grind is just going to keep people coming back. Also, even though it's less than a week since the new season came out, Respawn have been releasing loads of new updates, which is really great to see because these updates are directly listening to the community's complaints, and especially pro players' complaints. First of all, they nerfed the wingman pretty majorly, so it no longer takes the thermal sight and doesn't have the boosted loader. It's way less OP, but still really fun. And one issue at the start of this season that I mentioned was that for some reason, Respawn accidentally nerfed Ashe, adding 5 seconds onto her tactical cooldown. We suspected this could have been a nerf towards Ashe for some reason, but it turns out it was an accident, and Respawn also released another update to fix this as well. They clearly care a lot about the game right now, and they're doing what they should be doing, you know, developing the game, which is really nice to see. Although one thing they should patch is the fact that Watson no longer has her special revive animation, which is so sad. She was one of the only legends with a special revive animation, and for some reason it's not playing for a lot of people. Also, there's a few concerns that next gen isn't perfect. For some reason, when you go onto 120 FPS mode, the game gets unreasonably blurry, which is sad, and also this punch hack exists, so there's still a few patches that Respawn need to push out. Despite all the success of this season, there's still one thing which a lot of people are very confused about in Season 20. Where is the new map? Because in Season 19, Respawn were heavily teasing the new district map to the point where they literally showed us screenshots of it, but we never got it. And now it seems we're gonna get it in Season 21, which is kind of sad. But honestly, I kind of see why it was delayed if it was delayed, because there was so much stuff with Season 20, it seems ridiculous to have a new map to learn on top, as well as these legend perks and things like that. Although, what are your thoughts on Respawn potentially delaying the new map if they did? Either way, I'm sure that'll be coming at one point in the future, but what else is there in the future of Apex? Well, we already know of one major thing Respawn are setting out to play out throughout this whole season, and it's related to Titanfall, which is pretty crazy to see. Basically, you may notice at the end of the Apex Breakout trailer, Horizon was staring at this device, which happens to be the time gauntlet from Titanfall 2, the one Jack Cooper used in the Effect and Cause mission, which is pretty crazy. And if it wasn't obvious, she clearly wants to use this time device to go back in time and see her son. We can see this already because the lore and comics this season are related to her son, and from a plotline back in Season 7, we do know that eventually Horizon time travels back to her son, so I guess this time gauntlet is setting that lore up. Time travel lore is very confusing though, because in the Apex timeline we're in, she's already time traveled back to her son, and we know this through audio logs, but at the same time we saw her son basically like get old and die in pictures. I don't know, it's weird. Either way, that's definitely some lore that's going to play out this season, and there's already a brand new lore tab for the game as well, which I assume a lot of this story will be told through, which is pretty fun to see. We could already see from this that 2 future issues of the lore comics are going to involve Octane on a bike, it seems, and also Revenant in the Forge chair, which is pretty strange. So I can't wait to see where the lore of this season goes. But what about the events of this season? Because the lore isn't everything. Events will play out as well, and most likely bring this lore. Well, first of all, we know there's going to be an event involving an Octane heirloom recolor. We know for sure that Octane heirloom recolor is coming out this season because Respawn did that thing where they released new animations for the heirloom that's going to get recolored. Yes, Octane's heirloom did get some new animations, and they are really cool. My favorite one has got to be where he pulls out a churro and just says, "Churro!" But these heirloom animation reworks are great to see, and it gives everyone who owns an heirloom right now something to look forward to, because eventually the heirloom you've got right now will receive new updates to it, no matter how much you spend on the game. I'm pretty sure this event will be coming out within the next 30 days as well, which is pretty cool to see. This season is pretty packed with events, I feel. The second heirloom that we know that's going to be coming this season is the Universal Heirloom. I'm pretty sure this is confirmed that it's going to be a Universal Heirloom that you can obtain and equip on any character, which will be much like the Final Fantasy Heirloom. Being truthful, it's not in the files or anything, so don't expect it within the next month or two, but it was in the launch trailer, so it is going to come at some point. There's plenty of rumors that parts on this are going to be interchangeable, so you can basically customize your own heirloom like you could with Fade back in Apex Mobile, which would be really cool if true, and I could finally get a Mirage heirloom that isn't this stupid statue that's actually really getting on my nerves for some reason now. I've just grown to hate this statue for some reason. I used to think it was the best heirloom, but hopefully this universal heirloom is much better than the Final Fantasy one, because if you remember, the Final Fantasy one takes up so much of your screen, it's actually annoying to use because you're like, is there an enemy hiding behind my sword right now? Other than that, we don't really know anything about the heirloom, and we can only hope it's going to be locked behind a collection event rather than these Final Fantasy-esque events. Apparently, according to the EA Investors Call, the Final Fantasy event did generate some of the highest earning days of Apex during 2023, which is not very good for the future of Apex if you don't like these events, because obviously people are buying them and eating them up, and I've seen plenty of people with the Final Fantasy sword knocking about. So honestly, we're just gonna have to wait and see if Respawn reintroduce these events. I guess it's kind of like a risk and reward thing if they think the backlash is worth it. Also this season, I'm pretty sure there is going to be a Cyber Ninja event, because if you go into the World's Edge Museum right now, there's something called the Future of the Games, and if you look on the screen, it's showing loads of skin concepts that are in the works, and a lot of these skins are ninja based. They have face coverings, they have swords on the back, and have a very Cyber Ninja-esque feel. So I assume this is going to be one of the events coming out this season. There is a charm in the files right now referencing one of these skins on this concept board. It's the Loba skin. Also, a lot of people don't think this is a Loba skin, but you can see her ring and bracelet in it, so it's definitely a Loba skin. Don't worry about that. Also, one thing to look out for this season is Respawn introduced a new method of dropping heirlooms now. The new strategy is called dropping it on a random Tuesday and not telling anybody they did it. Respawn did this with a crypto heirloom recolor at the back end of season 19, and it seems to be intentional because in the season 20 battle pass there's actually a hollow spray of crypto using this sword. So this is a pretty unusual way of releasing new heirlooms, but it did introduce us to a brand new type of heirloom recolor feature. All heirloom recolors now are going to come with an exclusive finisher, which is really nice to see. The crypto heirloom recolor came with a finisher where the heirloom builds up and then you just hit somebody with it, but unfortunately this recolor didn't bring any new animations to the heirloom, which is odd. My personal theory is that Respawn made this heirloom recolor and the finisher and then realized that nobody wants to buy a crypto heirloom, and especially a crypto heirloom recolor, so they're like, let's not waste a collection event on this, let's just drop it and let people buy it if they want to, especially because we've got heirloom shards coming up for sale in the anniversary event. Personally, I think that's a train of thought, but what do you guys think of the random heirloom recolor drops? Maybe this could be a thing for the unpopular legends now. Maybe we'll see a random Mirage heirloom recolor pop up in the store. Also, Respawn opened a new source of information for Apex. They now have a TikTok, which is pretty interesting. They actually do some exclusive content for there, and it's some of the best content I've ever seen.
In my lane, unbothered, moisturized, flourishing, chillin' in the stream, eating mud and collecting shiny rocks.
So yeah, the future of Apex is looking bright, and this season's looking pretty good as well with the player counts. But how are you enjoying it, and can you see yourself playing it for another few weeks? And subscribe.